Okay, so okay,
So I can sit down here.
Okay.
So it's like if you were talking
So-
to me.
so let me first make a general remark about research institutes or research institutions. I think they have the big plus that A, they are not connected with a faculty or with a department. So that, how to say, that makes their outlook on science freer. They don't have to care. Okay, that's a stupid thing. They can concentrate fully on research. And if they go teaching somewhere, that's an option. And I think, in principle, everybody should take such an option if he has something to say. And probably you have here people who can do things which cannot be done in a neighboring university. So I think it's probably reasonable that from time to time you make that, but teaching is not an obligation, you see. So that gives you all the thing. So that's, in my eyes, that's the big plus of research institutions. The similar thing, I mean, is the case with company research institutions, as long as they are research institutions, like the IBM research laboratory where I came from, you see. We had no fixed, how do you say, obligation what to do, you see. It just had to be very good, that's all. Actually, you see, that's also quite interesting when you go to the very big research laboratories, like IBM in Yorktown, 3,000 people, they are all in one building. You never know when you go through the corridor who is a chemist, who is an engineer, except you know him, you see. And that's, you see, that's the idea of interdisciplinarity is much better, how do you say, possible than in universities where every department makes some concrete wall around it. And in the department, probably, you even make concrete walls around the various institutes of the department, you see. That's, okay. So that, for me, that's the general good side. Now, of course, also research institution has it a little bit harder. You see, a research institution cannot justify its existence by teaching, like a university. And at university, you have to give them some money, in any case also for research, because they are there, you see. You cannot simply leave the whole university without the research money. But the performance of the research is not of that so much of this extreme primary importance like in a research institute. I think that's one of the tougher sides. The other, of course, is how can you keep things going, innovation and so on. Again, the universities have the PhD students and the postdocs, and they are the source of new ways of thinking, not just the professors, you see. They are the ones which are unbiased. They are not yet experts. They have a certain lightness to approach something, and everything which is new because nobody, especially no expert, thought of doing it, maybe because he thought it was not possible, maybe he thought it was not interesting, and so on. So there you have these young people, and that's important for a research institution, that you find means also to attract the young people, you see. Now it depends again, you see, if somebody is more teaching inclined, he shouldn't come here. If he's real science and research inclined, then I think it's an ideal place. That's the way it is. And okay. The second part, of course, is the topic. I think research at a specific place gets usually stagnant if you never change your interests. And I changed 3 times my interests in IBM. And on each time, I came up to a certain level. So I could go to conferences and clap people on the shoulders, and people clapped me on the shoulder. So I was somebody in this, and then I said, okay, I change. Then for a while, you are nobody, because you don't know anybody in the new, how do you say, science environment. But if you have a little bit confidence in you and think you can do it, then I think that changes. And I still remember when I went to the first conference with the STM, I didn't know a person. It was the ECOS. That was a 500 people conference. I didn't know a single person. But many people knew me already, you see. Okay, that was now relatively lucky. But you have to, not everybody can do it, but if you can do it, you have to encourage people to do maybe something different than they did before. And we had quite a lot of PhD students. They came from the ETH, the Institute of Technology in Zurich, usually, but sometimes also from universities in Germany. And so they made the PhD with us. And practically all of them, or a big part of them, are now professors at universities. I would say the best ones are those who did afterwards in their postdoc years not the same they did as a PhD, not just a continuation of a PhD thesis. I think one always should keep this in the head. It might be, again, it might be for the postdoc a little bit more difficult, but I think that's where the older ones have to see that he doesn't have it too difficult. He has to feel the support for the new thing, what he does, and get the support, you see. That's important. Now about this institution in particular, I think quite a few of what I said now is implemented here. I don't know the institute now in detail. I just know that it's quite a good research place. It's a theory place, which of course is again a little bit far from. Okay, I can appreciate if a theory comes out with a useful result and with a nice result. I cannot appreciate, let's say, really the sophistication of a theoretical approach. That's okay. That's the way it is, and I think especially as far as I understand, Pedro Echenique, he tries to keep it young. Young in people, but also young in mind, and that's important. And what else would you like me to say?
Do you see relevant the role of such institutes in the context of developing science and technology, or they wouldn't be that important for you, or
no, I think.
Do they play a role?
Oh, you see, I think they play a central role. You see, 50 years ago, you had a lot of first-class industrial research laboratories and institutes, industrial ones, from General Electric to Westinghouse to Bell Labs to IBM. Now, of the ones, I think only IBM is left as a research laboratory with a reasonable part of real science. That means that all these research institutes mostly state-supported or public research institutes have to get in and fill the gap of this. And I think some do, some don't. Again, I know a lot of big, public research institutions which have become very heavy. I would say a lot of the consejos, I mean, consejo here and CNRS and thing, I think a lot of them have become a little bit slow, a little bit, how do you say? Yeah, a little bit self-content, and I think probably Max Planck Society is still a relatively pushy one, driving one. But beside the Max Planck Society, I don't say the others are now all bad, but I think they miss a little bit the drive. And actually universities too. And that has, that happens usually, the bigger an institute is, the more difficult it is to get it on track to new things. That's the way it is. That's okay. And so the research institutes, the public research institute, I think have a very important function. But they have to live up to it. And as I said in the beginning, it's tough to live up to it because you have never any other excuse except being a very excellent research place. That's the only thing you can offer, you see.